gonna share this right quick. Some people are gonna be like, "What? Happy New Year!" Yeah. All right. So it should be shared on there. All right. Link is shared on there. All right. Happy New Year. Happy Sabbath. And if you're not sure why that's happening March 19th, stick around. So, um, so spoiler alert: the biblical New Year or the actual New Year does not start in the middle of winter, January. That is a Roman tradition. Yes, we have a Roman calendar. You can go look it up. Um, so the year starts in the spring, and that's biblical. So his calendar is better than man's calendar. Okay? Now that we got that out of the way, I don't care what man thinks about it, it's what God thinks about it. When does he say the year starts? So if we go to Exodus 12, so Yahuwah spoke to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, "This month shall be to you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak to all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying," and it talks about on the 10th day of the month. It talks about unleavened bread, Passover, and that's Passover. Yep. So that is it for Exodus. But you go to Deuteronomy 16. Let's see if we got that in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So Deuteronomy 16, Dead Sea Scrolls. Talks about Passover as well. We don't have the first verse. So here in Deuteronomy 16, this is goes along with Exodus 12. So observe the month of Abib and keep the Passover unto Yahuwah thy Elohim. So we know Passover happens in the first month. For in the month of Abib, Yahuwah thy Elohim brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt by night. Okay, so Abib. He did not bring them out in the middle of winter. So if we go over here, and Enoch gives us the calendar. I've got some calendar videos trying to help explain Enoch. But if you go to, so here is a calendar that matches what I see in Enoch. I don't just take a calendar and say, okay, I trust these guys, what they're doing. No, I read Enoch, I look at the sun, moon, and stars, and because that's the biblical calendar, and I see what I see, and then if I see something that they have that matches what I see, then I use it. So this one matches what I see happening, except for here. If this is equal day and equal night per Enoch, the next day of the year would be on 3/17, but it's not. What I see in the calendar matches the last day of the year being here, 3/18. So I don't know how they're getting this equal day and night, and the head of the year being here. So I think their equal day and equal night calculation is off. Not to get too far into calendar talk, but so here it would be right here. And they quote Exodus 12, Jubilees 4 through 6, DSS Temple Scroll 14. We'll get to that. So here in Jubilees, this was considered scripture by the people that the Levites from the temple, the writings found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, just like Enoch. And you'll find quotes of Jubilees in the New Testament as well. It was considered scripture by the Messiah and the apostles. Enoch also, it was prophesied to be given back to us at the last days when knowledge increases. So I'm not going to get into that a whole lot. So here, Jubilee 6:23, on the new month of the first month, and it's not new moon, that's a tradition. I'll go into that right quick. I always get stuffed up when I start reading. So here, if we just go to new moon here, this blue letter Bible. Let's say new moon, H2320, Kodesh, or Kodesh, get that K sound. So 254 times in scriptures, this word is translated month, and only 20 times is new moon. So what do you think this word means? Because lunar month is not solar months, not lunar. There's lunar months, but the calendar doesn't go by lunar months, it goes by solar months. So scratch that. That's their lunar interpretation, because they follow a lunar calendar, or they follow the people that follow that. So it's month, Kodesh. It just means new month. Kodesh is new. By implication, month, monthly. You can go down here too and look in Jusinius. Yeah, it says the ancient Hebrews lunar month. If you look in the Dead Sea Scrolls, it tells you solar. Wrong. So in the second month, 7th day of the month, see that word right there? They're translating it as month all the time until they get to where they want to put new moon in there. So it's new month of the first month, new month of the fourth month, and a lot of scholars, when they translate Jubilee, like the Hermenia translation, they'll put first day of the first month right here because they know that's not new moon. So new moon of the fourth month, or new month of the fourth month, first day, I'm just going to say first day. First day of the 7th month, first day of the 10th month, or days of remembrance. And that may say new moon in the Ethiopic or the Greek, but that's the translation. That is not the original Hebrew. Days of remembrance, so this day of remembrance, new first day of the first month, and the days of the season, the 4 divisions of the year. These are written and ordained as a testimony forever. And Noah ordained them for himself as feasts for the generations forever, so that they have become thereby a memorial unto him. And on the first day of the first month, he was bidden to make for himself an ark. And on that day, the earth became dry, and he opened the ark and saw the earth. So that's what we're on right here. So the earth became dry. That's what this is. It's a festival commemorating the earth becoming dry after the flood. And on this account he ordained them for himself as feasts for a memorial forever, and thus are they ordained, and they placed them on the heavenly tables, or tablets. Each of them had 13 weeks, one to another, past their memorial. That's another reason that I believe today is the first day of the year, because 26 weeks ago, memorial to memorial, was the first day of the 7th month, the Feast of Trumpets. Psalm 82, David said, blow the trumpet on the full moon. And you look up on the Feast of Trumpets last September 18th, I think it was, and it was a full moon, the night of the Feast of Trumpets. So from one to another passed a memorial, from the first to the second, second to the third, third to the fourth, and all the days of the commandment will be 2 and 50 weeks of days. So 52 weeks only, 7 days a week. Perfect. Not 365, not 366, not 354, 364. And these will make the entire year complete. 52 weeks, complete year. Thus it is engraven and ordained on the heavenly tablets and there's no neglecting this commandment for a single year from year to year. So this is a commandment, the feast. And command thou the children of Israel that they observe the years according to this reckoning, 364 days. Enoch says the same thing. Adam from parable of the vineyard will single out jubilees and then ignore Enoch, except for the moon. Not picking on you, Adam, because but says the same thing as Enoch. These will constitute a complete year, and they will not disturb its time from its days and from its feasts. And don't pick on jubilees. Go pick on Enoch. He says the same thing. This was written by Moses after Enoch. And for everything will fall out in them according to their testimony. They will not leave out any day nor disturb any feast. But if they do neglect and do not observe them according to his commandment, then they will disturb all their seasons, and the years will be dislodged from this order. This already happened, so the years were dislodged, and they will disturb the seasons. Years will be dislodged. They will neglect their ordinances, and all the children of Israel will forget and will not find the path of the years, and they will forget new months and seasons and Sabbaths. So to say the Sabbath has never been forgotten, that it's stayed the same since creation, that's calling God a liar, because he says here they're going to forget Sabbaths, and they will go wrong as to the order of the years. For I know from henceforth shall I declare unto thee, and I know you can say this is festivals too, but there's a weekly Sabbath as well. And it is not of my own devising, for the book lieth written before me, and on the heavenly tablets the division of days is ordained, lest they forget the feast of the covenant, and walk according to the feast of the Gentiles, after their error and after their ignorance. For there will be those who will assuredly make observations of the moon, how it disturbeth the seasons, and cometh in from year to year 10 days too soon. Enoch says the same thing. For this reason the years will come upon them when they disturb and make an abominable day the day of testimony. Unclean day, regular day, profane day, abominable day means the same thing. It's just a regular work day. And an unclean day, a feast day. So we know regular work days are not feast days. We know regular work days are not Sabbaths to keep holy. And they will confound all the days, the holy with the unclean with the holy, for they will go wrong as to months, Sabbaths, feasts, and jubilees. So it tells you again here, if you want to ignore this and say this is feast, go down here and look. Because he tells you they will go wrong as to months, new month festivals, Sabbaths, weekly Sabbaths, feasts, high Sabbaths, jubilees. For this reason I command and testify to thee, that thou mayest testify to them, for after thy death thy children will disturb them, so that they will not make the year 364 days only. For this reason they will go wrong as to new months and seasons and Sabbaths and festivals. So he splits Sabbaths from festivals. And they will eat all kinds of blood with all kinds of flesh. So that's given back to us at the end. Daniel chapter 12 and some other places. But yeah, it's pretty cool here. I like how they put some references in here when you go by that. So if you go here and you're wondering about, okay, where else is a new moon celebration in Scripture, a festival? Well, we got it right here in 1 Samuel chapter 20. So David hid himself in the field, and when the new month was come, not moon, the king set him down to eat meat. So why would it reference new month? He sat down to eat meat if it's just a regular, And the king sat upon his seat, as at other times, even upon a seat by the wall. And Jonathan arose, and Abner sat by Saul's side, and David's place was empty. Nevertheless, Saul spake not anything that day, for he thought something hath befallen him. He is not clean. Surely he is not clean. So why is he not here? Surely he's not clean. Why do you have to be clean? Because on a festival day, on a Sabbath day, on a new month festival, on a holy day, so this is considered a holy day, along with a Sabbath and a festival, you have to be clean to observe it. If you're not clean, you're not supposed to observe it. It goes for Passover, tabernacles, all that stuff. It came to pass on the morrow, which was the second day of the month, that David's place was empty, and Saul said unto Jonathan his son, Wherefore cometh not the son of Jesse? So, yeah, here again, second day of the month. So what's this? New month. What they're saying, new moon. It's first day of the month, not moon. Unless you follow the moon, which is wrong. Jonathan said, wherefore cometh not the son of Jesse to meet, neither yesterday nor today. So it looks like they carried it over, the festival, from the first day to the second day. And Jonathan answered Saul, David earnestly asked leave of me to go to Bethlehem. But this doesn't mean they're observing a festival on the second day. It could just mean why is he not coming today? I know he was unclean yesterday, was probably the reason he didn't make it, but today it don't matter if you're clean or unclean. Why is he not here today? See? It's not that complicated. We make it way more complicated than it has to be. Jonathan answered Saul, David earnestly asked leave of me to go to Bethlehem. So here, and if you want to look up here, they add a week. They add an intercalary week that's not in scripture. You're not supposed to do that. So it throws their calendar off for a whole week. So this is a calendar I used last year, but since they're doing that, I'm not using it. But I am using it for this. They got some cool scripture references, so I like that. But yeah. So we go to Genesis 8:13. And it came to pass in the 601st year, in the first month, the first day of the month. So the 601st year, that's Noah. Noah was 600 when the flood came, so this is 601st year. Happy New Year, Will. Thanks for coming out. And the first month, the first day of the month, the waters were dried up from off the earth. So the first month, first day of the month, does not say new moon. And Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. So let's look. I'm just curious. 8. So let's check over here. First month, first day of the month. So here this Kodesh. First day of the month. So they add day. So they Ichad Chodesh. First month. So it's translated as month. So he moved it. So the ground was dry, just like Jubilees. First day of the first month. And in the second month, so it goes on. So here in, where's this at? Jubilees. Building of the ark, the flood. I think it's Jubilees 5. So in verse 31, and the waters disappeared from above the earth in the 5th week, in the 7th year thereof, on the 17th day. In the second month, the earth was dry, just like Genesis just said. Here it is, verse 30. And on the first day of the 10th month, the top of the mountains were seen. And on the first day of the first month, the earth became visible. Same thing. And he gives, R.H. Charles gives some footnotes here to different resources. So he's got Enoch 89:7. I'm going to look at that. We'll pull some Enoch into it. Enoch 89:7. I'll read it every chance I get. I like some Enoch 89:7. So this is the animal dream vision, and I like that this is it's kind of concealed, so it will be harder for people to manipulate it because it's given the nations by animals. So, and one of those 4 went to that white bull and struck to him in secret without his being terrified. He was born a bull and became a man. This Noah, it also says the same thing about Moses later on, and built for himself a great vessel and dwelt thereon. So that's Noah building the ark. 3 bulls dwelt with him in that vessel, and they were covered in. That's his 3 sons. And again, I raised my eyes toward heaven and saw a lofty roof and several water torrents thereon, and those torrents flowed with much water into an enclosure. And I saw again, and behold, fountains were open on the surface of that great enclosure, and that water began to swell and rise upon the surface. And I saw to that enclosure till all its surface was covered with water. And the water, the darkness, the mist increased upon it. And as I looked at the height of that water had risen above the height of that enclosure, and was streaming over that enclosure, and it stood upon the earth. And all the cattle of that enclosure were gathered together until I saw how they sank and were swallowed up and perished in that water. So but that vessel floated on the water, while all the oxen, elephants, camels, and asses sank to the bottom with all the animals, so that I could no longer see them, and they were not able to escape, but perished and sank in the depths. And for people that say the giants crossed over on the flood, Father God in heaven is not impotent. If he sends a flood to wipe everything out, everything gets wiped out. So you don't have to understand how they crossed over. He wiped them out. So they were not able to escape. And the elephants, camels, and asses, I believe that refers to giants. So the oxen is people. Elephants, camels, and asses are the giants. Different groups of giants. You see that in different places as well. And again, I saw in the vision till those water torrents were removed from that high roof, and chasms of the earth were. I think looking earlier in the animal dream vision, and you'll see that reference to the giants. Leveled up, and other abysses were opened. Then the water began to run down into these till the earth became visible. So we see that again. That's when the earth dried up, but that vessel settled on the earth, and the darkness retired, and light appeared. So after the sons of Noah, this is when the nations were split up. So go back. Yep, I can go and check that for you right quick. Previous. Yep, so it's talking about. So here, and again, I saw in the vision, I looked toward heaven, and behold, I saw many stars descend. That's when the fallen angels descended, cast themselves down from heaven to that first star. They became bulls amongst those cattle, and pastured with them. And I looked at them and saw, and behold, they let out their privy members like horses, and began to cover the cows of the oxen. And they all became pregnant, and they bare elephants, camels, and asses, the giants. 3 separate groups. Jubilees says 3 separate groups as well. So here, Jubilee 7, in the 7th week of the 1st year thereof, in this Jubilee, Noah planted vines on the mountain which the ark had rested, named Lubar, one of the Ararat mountains, and they produced fruit in the 4th year, and he guarded their fruit and gathered it in this year, the 7th month. And he made wine thereof, and put it into a vessel, and kept it until the 5th year, until the 1st day of the new month of the 1st month. And he celebrated with joy the day of this feast. 1st day of the 1st month. And he made a burnt sacrifice unto Yahuwah, 1 young ox, 1 ram, 7 sheep, each a year old, and a kid of the goats, that he might make atonement thereby for himself and his sons. So we see Noah celebrating it. You see Saul asking where David's at, because they're celebrating it. And he prepared the kid first, and placed some of its blood on the flesh that was on the altar which he had made, and all the fat he laid on the altar where he made the burnt sacrifice, and the ox and the ram and the sheep, and he laid all their flesh upon the altar. And he placed all their offerings mingled with oil upon it, and afterwards he sprinkled wine on the fire which he had previously made on the altar, and he placed incense on the altar, and caused a sweet savor to ascend, acceptable before Yahuwah his Elohim, or Yahuwah his God. And he rejoiced and drank of this wine, and his children with joy. And it was evening, and he went into his tent. Being drunken, he lay down and slept, and was uncovered in his tent as he slept. So this is the day that Noah got drunk. And everybody knows about that, but they don't understand the other stuff that goes with it. And Ham saw Noah his father naked. That does not mean that Ham slept with Noah's wife. That's ridiculous. And went forth and told his brethren without. And Shem took his garment and arose, he and Japheth, and they placed the garment on their shoulders, went backward and covered the shame of their father, and their faces were backwards. So it tells you straight up, they covered him up because he was naked. And Noah woke from his sleep and knew all that his younger son had done unto him, and he cursed his son and said, Cursed be Canaan, and his slave servant shall he be unto his brethren. And he blessed Shem. He said, Blessed be Yahuwah God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. God shall enlarge Japheth, and Elohim shall dwell in the dwelling of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. And Ham knew that his father had cursed his younger son, and he was displeased that he had cursed his son, and he parted from his father, he and his sons with him, Cush, Mitzrayim, that's Egypt, Put, and Canaan. And he built for himself a city and called its name after the name of his wife, Neelah Tamah-uk. And Japheth saw it and became envious of his brother, and he built a city. I'll tell you, that's the reason the land is named Canaan, because Canaan took the inheritance. You read that later on. I'm not going to get into that. But he was cursed for taking the inheritance. So Noah cursed him ahead of time, and he didn't curse Ham because the sons of Noah were blessed by God. So he didn't curse anything that God had blessed. Noah wasn't stupid. So, Jubilees 27. And Jacob went from the well of the oath to go to Haran in the first year of the second week in the 44th Jubilee. And he came to Luz on the mountains, that is Bethel. Bethel in Hebrew is house of God, house of El, Beth. Beth is house. And really, they translate everything else. I don't know why they just don't translate this house of God. Who knows what Beth means, really? So, house of God on the new month, the first month. So, the first of the first month of this week, and he came to the place at even and turned from the way to the west of the road that night, and he slept there, for the sun had set. And he took one of the stones of that place and laid it at his head under the tree, and he was journeying along, and he slept. He dreamt that night, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth. A lot of big stuff happens on the first day of the first month. So we got Noah doing a festival, getting drunk, falling asleep. We got Jacob here sitting that, haven't seen the ladder set up, his vision. And the top of it reached to heaven, and behold, the angels of Yahuwah ascended and descended on it, the Malachim, holy ones, watchers. And behold, Yahuwah stood upon it, and he spake to Jacob and said, I am Yahuwah Elohim of Abraham, thy father, and the Elohim of Isaac. I have trouble pronouncing that one. I'm not going to try. Isaac, the land whereupon thou art sleeping, to thee shall I give it, and to thy seed after thee. So he's in Israel. And thy seed will be as the dust of the earth. So Luz on the mountains, Bethel in Israel. And thou will increase to the west, and to the east, to the north, to the south. And in thee and in thy seed will all the families of the nations be blessed. And behold, I shall be with thee, and shall keep thee whithersoever thou goest. And I shall bring thee again into this land in peace, for I shall not leave thee until I do everything that I told thee of. And Jacob awoke from his sleep and said, so he's already telling him they're going to go to Egypt, but he's going to bring him back in peace. Truly this place, and he's going to bring him back at the end too. Truly this place is the house of Yahuwah, and I knew it not. And he was afraid and said, dreadful is this place, which none other than the house of Elohim. This is the gate of heaven. And Jacob arose early in the morning, so that place is still in Israel. This is the gate of heaven. And Jacob arose early in the morning, and took the stone which he had put under his head, and set it up as a pillar for a sign, and he poured oil upon the top of it. So this mountain here is I believe one of the holy mountains that he talks about in Jubilees 8, I think it is. There's 4 holy places on earth. This mountain, this mountain, this mountain, this mountain. So this is one of them. But the name of the place was Luz at the first. He called the name of the place Bethel, but the place was Luz at the first. So Jacob called it Bethel. And Jacob vowed a vow unto Yahuwah, saying, if Yahuwah will be with me, and will keep me in this way that I go, and give me bread to eat and raiment to put on, so that I come again to my father's house in peace. Then shall Yahuwah be my Elohim, and this stone which I have set up as a pillar for a sign in this place shall be Yahuwah's house, and of all that thou givest me, I shall give the tenth to thee, my Elohim. Awesome. Alright, so, and Jubilees 28. Jubilees is loaded. It is loaded. And again, Yaakov went in unto Leah, and she conceived and bare him a third son. He called his name Levi, in the new first day of the first month, in the 6th year of this week. So Levi was born on this day. It's a big deal. Big deal. So we got the earth dried up, Noah's feast where he got drunk and naked, Jacob ladder to heaven, Levi born on this day. 4 things so far. Pretty awesome. So, and we got Exodus 40 here. So in verse 17, in the first month, in the 2nd year after the departure, I'm not sure, from Egypt, on the first day of the month, the tabernacle was raised up. So that's 5 major things, the tabernacles today. He raised up its socket and set up its hooks and its boards, and its bars were put in, and raised up its pillars. Covering over the tent was put in, and he put the roof of the tabernacle above on it, as Yahuwah commanded Moses. He took the testimony, and it was put into the ark, and set the poles on the ark, and the mercy seat was put on the ark. He brought the ark and set up the veil of the screen. If you're wondering what this is here, this red is in the Dead Sea Scrolls. This crossed out is missing from the Dead Sea Scrolls. So it looks like this passage here was edited heavily. And set up the veil of the screen, and screened the ark of the testimony. And this right here is crossed out would be like in our modern translation, not found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. And it tells you over here. So if the scroll is different from traditional text, the words in the traditional text that are missing from the text of the scroll are marked through in red like this. So that'd be the Masoretic text, Leningrad Codex. If the scroll is different from the traditional text, words in the scroll that are not in traditional text are underlined in red like this. Alright. So he brought the ark and set up the veil of the screen, and screened the ark of the testimony as Yahuwah commanded Moses. The table was put into the tent of meeting on the south of the tabernacle northward, outside the veil. That's cool. Tabernacle, first month. He set the bread in order on it before Yahuwah, as Yahuwah commanded Moses, and he put the lampstand in the tent of meeting opposite the table on the side of the tabernacle southward. He lit the lamps before Yahuwah, as Yahuwah commanded Moses. He put the golden altar in the tent of meeting before the veil, and he burned incense of sweet spices on it before him, as Yahuwah commanded Moses. 27. Hebrews. No, Exodus 40, 27. So the other part's missing from the Dead Sea Scrolls. And he set up the hanging at the door of the tabernacle, and he put the altar of the burnt offering by the door of the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, congregation, and offered upon it the burnt offering and the meat offering, as Yahuwah commanded Moses. And he set the laver between the tent of the congregation and the altar, and put water there to wash withal. And Moses and Aaron and his sons washed their hands and their feet thereat, when they went into the tent of the congregation, or tent of meeting. And when they came near unto the altar, they washed, as Yahuwah commanded Moses. And he reared up the court round about the tabernacle and the altar, and set up the hanging of the court gate. So Moses finished the work. Then a cloud covered the tent of the congregation, and the glory of Yahuwah filled the tabernacle. And Moses was not able to enter into the tent of the congregation, because the cloud abode thereon, and the glory of Yahuwah filled the tabernacle. That's interesting. So it looks like in the first month his glory covered the tabernacle, and first month when he took them out at Passover, he took them out. His glory, like the cloud, a pillar of fire at night and a pillar of smoke during the day, that's Messiah. He took them out of Egypt, book of Jude. So same thing, first month. And when the cloud was taken up from the over the tabernacle, the children of Israel went onward in all their journeys. So that's the cloud again, just like when they were taken out of Egypt. But if the cloud were not taken up, then they journeyed not till the day that it was taken up. For the cloud of Yahuwah was upon the tabernacle by day, and fire was on it by night. Same thing. In the sight of all the house of Israel throughout all their journeys. So, alright, I already looked at the bead there. Yep, so that's Deuteronomy and the Dead Sea Scrolls. Alright, so this is interesting. This is in Giesebrim's Dead Sea Scrolls translation. Yep. I'm going to go to this one first because we're reading about stuff that happened. Let me get over here. So this is Genesis commentary of the Dead Sea Scrolls. So by the temple, sons of Zadok, and the Dead Sea Scrolls, followers of the way, Messiah, apostles, whoever was there and wrote this, that's the holy community, period. This was the first day of the first month. Let's see, so at the end of 3 weeks after Noah had sent forth the dove, which did not return to him anymore, the waters dried up from the earth. You know what happened there? First day of the first month, and Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. And it references Genesis 8:13 right here. This was the first day of the first month. It happened in the 601st year of the life of Noah, just like Genesis says, 601st year, that's Noah. On the 17th day of the second month, that the earth was dry. So then it goes to, and on the first day of the week, on that day Noah went forth from the ark at the end of the full year of 364 days. So we know the flood came on the second month, 17th day. Is that when tribulation is going to begin? I don't know. It's very interesting that, I think that's also when they got kicked out of the garden too. So a year later, that's when he exited the ark. We're no longer on the first day of the first month. And Noah from the ark at the appointed time of a full year. So you got a space here, and then it goes to the story of Noah's drunkenness. And Noah awoke from his wine, knew what his youngest son had done to him, and he said, "Cursed be Canaan, slave of slaves shall I be to his brothers." But he did not curse Ham, but only his son, for God had blessed the sons of Noah. So that's where you get more information. So what's going on here? That's what's going on. Not the Rabbi Babel interpretation. This is the correct interpretation. And let him dwell in the tents of Shem. He gave the land to Abram, his beloved. So it goes on. Yep, skip on down. So we go to, what's this here? Just a few passages. So this is the temple scroll. On the first day of the first month, the months of the year shall start. It shall be the first month of the year for you. And you'll see in the temple scrolls, God is talking directly to man. He's giving stuff directly to Moses. You shall do no work. So here you go. It's a festival day. No work. It's a Sabbath. You shall offer a he-goat for a sin offering. It shall be offered by itself to expiate for you. You shall offer a holocaust, a bullock, ram, 7 yearling, ram lambs without blemish, additional to the burnt offering for the new month, and grain offering of 3/10 of fine flour mixed with oil, half a hin for each bullock, and wine for a drink offering, half a hin, a soothing odor to Yahuwah, and 2/10 of fine flour mixed with oil, 1/3 of a hin. You shall offer wine for a drink offering, 1/3 of a hin for the ram, an offering by fire of a soothing odor to Yahuwah. 1/10 of fine flour, a grain offering mixed with a quarter of a hin of oil. You shall offer wine for a drink offering, a quarter hin for each ram, lambs, and for the he goat. And you see that Noah sprinkled wine on his offering. So here, yep, I'm gonna go next one. That's Passover. 4th of the first month. Yep. So you go to, I'm not sure if Genesis Apocrypha has it or not. Anyways, so this is the War Scroll, and it's interesting. It says, again, Giza Vermes, Dead Sea Scrolls, quotation here. Below them shall be the chiefs of the tribes together with the heads of the family of the congregation. They shall attend daily at the gates of the sanctuary, whereas the leaders of their divisions with their numbered men shall attend at their appointed times on new months, appointed times, and on Sabbaths, and on all the days of the year, their age being 50 years and over. These are the men who shall attend at holocausts and sacrifices to prepare sweet-smelling incense for the good pleasure of God, to atone for all his congregation, to satisfy themselves perpetually before him at the table of glory. They shall arrange all these things during the season of the year of release. That's the year of the Jubilee, when Messiah comes to free the captives and redeems us. And this is an end times war. And so just like in Ezekiel, it says they're going to give their sacrifices, and in Isaiah 56, I think, 56, 58, their sacrifices will be accepted. So when he returns, there'll be sacrifices again. And the Levites are going to come out of their graves. The sons of Zadok are going to come out of their graves. The elect will be living when he returns. So, go back here. Alright, and this is an account of David's poems found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. David, son of Jesse, this Giza Vermes translation, was wise and brilliant like the light of the sun. He was a scribe, intelligent and perfect in all his ways before God and men. Yahuwah gave him an intelligent and brilliant spirit, so let nobody boast if he's given us anything. So it comes from him. He wrote 3,600 psalms and 364 songs to sing before the altar for the daily perpetual sacrifice. 364 days of sacrifices for all the days of the year. So it tells you again, there's only 364. And 52 songs for the Sabbath offerings, and 30 songs for new months, for feast days, and for the Day of Atonement. So you can figure up, so 12 new months, how many feast days, and the Day of Atonement, it should equal 30. Right? So David wrote a song for the new month festival. And all the songs which he uttered were 446, and 4 songs to make music on behalf of those stricken by evil spirits. In all there were 4,050. All these he uttered through prophecy which was given him from before the Most High. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. But yeah, if you go to, so Levi's born, tabernacle set up, Jacob has a vision, Noah became drunk, flood waters recede. So that's, I don't agree with them adding a week, but that's pretty cool calendar. They give you the major events for things that happen. And if anybody wants, let me go pull that up one up. And it's amazing, a new brother that I met just a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a month or so ago, and I'm trying to figure out what the first day is, and he sent me this calendar just a couple weeks ago, before the start of the year. And the 2 calendars I had was Torah's Light and Zadok Way, and both of those add a week, so it messes the whole calendar up. So that's pretty cool. So this is the Gospel Worth Dying For website, and you can go here and get the calendar. I'm going to leave a link in case you want to get it. So follow God first, read the scriptures, get understanding, then you can use man's calendar. Just some advice, take it or leave it. Don't follow man first. So some of the stuff I don't agree with their interpretation. You got to follow scriptures first. If the service week and the moon stuff lines up with the calendar, awesome, great. But don't ignore something in Enoch telling you how the sun, moon, and stars operate, and then go over here and use this and adjust your calendar to that. So, yep, pretty cool. All right, I hope that was a blessing and helpful. Hope everybody has a happy New Year, happy Sabbath, and yep, hope I didn't forget anything. But yep, so God bless y'all. Have a good one.